Our Galaxy and Other Galaxies by Kelsey Thornton, Shelby Baker, and Kim Hogan. The three major types of galaxies include spiral, elliptical, and irregular. How are galaxies classified? Spiral galaxies are classified by a huge bulge in the center and flattened disk with spiral arms. They usually contain young blue stars. Elliptical galaxies are classified as not having a disk or arms. They are smooth and oval-shaped and contain older stars. Irregular galaxies are not spiral and they are not elliptical. Instead, they are smaller and have no definite shape. They often contain new stars.
Edwin Hubble, Hubble's law. A galaxy's speed away from us is proportional to its distance away from us. Recessional velocity of galaxy equals Hubble constant times distance to galaxy. Although all other galaxies are moving away from us, we are not the center of the universe. Space is expanding due to redshifts. Galaxies further away from us are moving faster because of greater redshifts. Hubble tuning fork, classification of galaxies. The diagram is in two parts, the elliptical galaxies and the spiral galaxies. Ellipticals were given numbers from 0 to 7. E0 is the most round and E7 is very elliptical. Hubble assigned letters from A to Z for the compactness of spiral arms. SA is more tightly wound and SC is more loosely wound. Hubble types S0, SA, and SB in elliptical galaxies could be very similar objects. There are some galaxies difficult to put in the tuning fork, and that is the irregular galaxies.
Spiral galaxies. They are made of mostly newly formed stars, making them very bright. They display a more uniform motion rather than a random one. Spiral galaxies are often found in groups, up to a few dozen. That explains why nearly 70% of the galaxies closest to the Milky Way are spiral. 77% of known galaxies are spiral. Examples are the Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy, as shown on the right. Depending on which angle you look at them, spiral galaxies can be called edge-on, seen from the side where the bulge is visible, or face-on, seen from the top where arms are visible. As spiral galaxies age, they will lose gas and dust, making their arms less prominent. The fewer arms it has, the older it is. Now let's look at the parts. The bulge, sometimes called the central nucleus, is made of older, dimmer stars. It contains a supermassive black hole in the center, but is difficult to observe because it is blocked by dust and gas surrounding it. The disk is made of very bright young stars. Along with an abundance of dust and gas, this explains why the arms are distinctly defined.
Elliptical galaxies. They are the most plentiful type of galaxies found in the universe, but are often outshone by brighter collections of stars. They are a rounded shape and stretched out circle. Some are more stretched out than others. They contain older stars and less gas. Scientists believe that they are nearing the end of the evolution line for galaxies. When two spirals collide, they lose their shape and become elliptical galaxies. Since they are born from collisions, they are commonly found around clusters and groups of galaxies. They are rarely spotted in the early universe, which supports the idea that they evolved from collisions that came later in life of a galaxy.
Elliptical galaxies are not supported by rotation. The orbits of the stars are random and often elongated. The shape of the galaxy is determined by the speed of the stars in each direction. Faster-moving stars can travel further before they get turned back to gravity. This creates a long axis for the galaxy. The size of an elliptical galaxy is measured as an effective radius, which correlates to the size of the circle encompassing half of the light coming from the galaxy. The measurements revealed that they can range in size from rare giant ellipticals that stretch over hundreds of kiloparsecs to very common dwarf ellipticals that have diameters as small as 0.3 kiloparsecs.
Irregular galaxies. Irregular galaxies are formed by a collision with another galaxy, which results in the distorted irregular shape. An example of irregular galaxies are starburst galaxies. Irregular galaxies can be found in groups of clusters. There are two forms of irregular galaxies, irregular 1 and irregular 2. Irregular 1 galaxies are very similar to spiral galaxies. These are the most common forms of irregular galaxies. They contain very few heavy elements. They have some structure. Irregular 2 galaxies look distorted. These are the irregular galaxies that collide with other galaxies. They contain copious amounts of gas and have no identifiable structure.